The Palm Springs Police Department will hold a number of community meetings next week to set goals for the department. Officers will be present at the meetings to interact with the public and go over crime statistics in their neighborhoods. I spoke in depth today with Chief Andy Mills about the department's goals and how crime is overall right now in Palm Springs. Chief Mills, first off, tell us about the upcoming community meetings.
Well, Peter, thanks for having me on. And this is a great opportunity for us to connect with the community and to be able to talk with them about what their hopes and their dreams and their desires are for Palm Springs. And so we're going to meet 5 different times, and anybody can go to any meeting. They're not bound by just the neighborhood you're in, but we want to hear from the community what they see as the mission of the police department, as well as what are their crime fighting priorities, so that we can police from their perspective.
And you said there are going to be 5 meetings. Where will they be? And if people want to attend, what do they need to do? How do they register? Where do they go?
Well, they don't need to register, just show up. All of them are going to be outside from 4 o'clock to 5 o'clock at night. We have the locations listed on our website, so people can go there to find out the exact location on which day. There's 5 different locations. So to remember them and to spit it out right now would be kind of time consuming. But again, people can go to any of them. We will have ASL interpreters as well as Spanish speakers there to make sure that everybody in the community has equal input.
Hard to believe it's already been 3 months, Chief Mills, since you took office. How have things been going so far?
You know, Kathy and I have just absolutely fallen in love with this community. It's such a positive and wonderful place to be, where people are gracious and friendly and welcoming, and we couldn't be more ecstatic. And so it's been fantastic.
Any surprises since your arrival?
No surprises. It's a police department that is fantastic. I really, truly think that they've done a great job hiring some of the best people possible. And we want to continue with that tradition, but fill up our ranks as quickly as we can, get people healthy, get them back in the field, and so that we can provide the best public safety possible for the wonderful residents of Palm Springs.
Speaking of filling up the ranks as quickly as possible, we've been doing a lot of reports on the worker shortage affecting all types of businesses throughout the valley. How are things with the police department? Are you still trying to recruit more officers?
Yeah, well, it's hit us hard also. We currently have 6 openings and 2 potential overfill positions in just the sworn side of the house. On the civilian or professional side of the house, we have some additional openings. So we are recruiting hard. We've just brought on today 2 additional lateral transfers from other police departments, which is nice because they can just go right into service. We don't have to send them to a 6, 7, 8 month training academy. And so this has been a fantastic way to open up the department, get other people here. The city's been gracious with giving us a $30,000 hiring bonus for lateral transfers. So anybody out there that's listening to my voice, now's a good time.
All right. And how are things overall in terms of crime in Palm Springs? I know that when I spoke with your predecessor, things were some of the worst conditions he had seen in years. Are you seeing improvement?
Well, I don't know that we're seeing improvement, but I can tell you that compared to what it was in the early 90s, we're far better shape than we were. So you want to take a look at crime over a long-term picture and not get too excited about the rise and falls every month, because it almost looks like an EKG. We'll have all this data ready for the community when they come to these meetings, so that they can have it in their hands and they can see exactly what we see. And so our goal is to get that trend line to move downward, not upward. And as you're seeing around the country, we are having an upward trend in both violent and property crime. And we're seeing certainly a lot of violent crime in terms of gun crimes here in our community. I put a specialized team out, and immediately within a few weeks, they got 19 guns off the street. And so we're going to continue to press forward as staffing allows to make sure we're getting illegal guns out of the hands of people that shouldn't have them.
You know, it seems like this has been going on for the last few years, that we're seeing this trend in violent crime going up. How do you combat this other than just taking guns off the streets?
Well, I think there's a variety of ways. One is there are some very evidence-based approaches that we have seen around the nation that have worked well. And our job is to see and figure out what will work well here. So a lot of that takes detailed analysis to find out what segment and why are some of these violent crimes taking place? For instance, is it family crime, or is it gang crime, gang associated crime, or crime amongst people who have mental health issues? So all those things can add up to a rise in crime, and we want to make sure that we understand why and then tailor make solutions to go after those. And that's kind of the emphasis of where we are headed as a police department, to study the crime, look at it, what are the best practices, and implement them here so we can see that downward trend take place.
I'm curious, Chief Mills, homelessness continues to be a major issue in Palm Springs. Are you seeing an increase in crimes involving people who are homeless?
You know, I don't have the data right in front of me to suggest what the level that crime is, but I can tell you this: at other studies I have looked at, the homeless population has been victimized 14 times greater than the other population, and are suspects in crime as much as 12 times more. So a lot of the crime that we're seeing amongst that population is on one another. I think the reason for that is you're dealing with some significant mental health issues, some substance abuse issues, and we really implore the county to help us solve those problems, because they're the ones that hold the keys to mental health as well as drug recovery beds. And so we're working with the county to make sure that we're getting the resources we need locally to fix some of those longer term, very recalcitrant problems.
Overall, Chief Mills, things moving in the right direction, in your opinion?
We are really excited about the future for Palm Springs and our department. Again, I couldn't be more elated with the staff. We have some really bright, capable, thoughtful people. You know, that's what Palm Springs expects of us. And I know that we'll meet that mark as a department.
All right, Chief Mills, we appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us.
You bet, Peter. Thank you.